What's up guys, Jack here. When Apple released the new MacBook Pro last fall, you could tell that in typical Apple fashion they had spent countless hours refining the design of the computer to balance the performance and power efficiency all in one kind of really high-end package. Sometimes that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking to get maximum power and performance for our money. And if that is what you are in search of, I think you got to look at this computer, which is the Alienware 15R3. Let's check it out now. One of the first things you notice about the R3 is the size and the build quality. This is a massive laptop. You can see with the MacBook Pro laid over it that it's at least 30% bigger. These are both 15-inch laptops, but the MacBook Pro is really only a fraction of the size. Now, although it's not a thin laptop, I would not say that it's not well designed or engineered. I think it's really well made. It's super solid. It's built like a tank. You would not want to drop this laptop on your foot or on your floor. You are going to damage something. This thing feels like it's basically indestructible. And I really appreciate how solid and well made it is. A lot of the gaming laptops tend to be a little plasticky and they have some flex to them. And when you look at the Alienware, it's just not the case at all. It's solid as a rock. There's zero flex to the chassis. The keyboard is very solid. Everything about it is just well made. So I think it's a good combination between a kind of a high-end aesthetic and a traditional gaming style laptop. And they came up with something really cool. When it comes to performance and specs, this thing is a real desktop replacement laptop. I mean, the specs are similar or equivalent to a fairly high-end gaming PC. It has a Intel i7 7700, an NVIDIA GTX 1070 GPU, 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM, which is expandable up to 32, 3 display options, 2 of which are 1080p displays, a 60 Hz and a 120 Hz display. They also have a UHD version, which is a different panel, but I went with the 1080p version. It has G-Sync. As far as ports on the computer, so they've really given you a lot of options on this laptop. They put a lot of the main ports on the back. Assuming this is a desktop replacement, it kind of keeps all the cords to the back of the machine, which I really like when it's docked on a desk, which is primarily where it will be most of the time, I think, for most people. But the overall build of this laptop and what they've thought through is really impressive to me. They put a great keyboard in it. It has backlighting. It's zoned backlighting, but I really like the key travel and the overall feel of it. It has the feel to me of a kind of a mechanical desktop keyboard more than a laptop keyboard, and that's something I really like. The trackpad also has the Alienware effects under it, and you can choose the lighting color of the trackpad. It's a cool effect. If I had a complaint, it would be that the trackpad is a little bit tacky, so your finger kind of sticks to it. But I mean, unless you're gaming or doing something real high performance, it's not going to bother you. Almost any of us that are playing games are going to be using an external mouse anyway, so it's really not a big deal. One thing I really like about the laptop is they've included 2 hard drives in the computer, so you have an SSD and a 1 terabyte mechanical drive. This is really nice if you have games or media files that you want to keep on your computer and they're kind of archived or you don't use them every day. Having the 2 drives is also really nice because you can back up your data from your SSD to the mechanical drive and still have your backups contained internally. As far as gaming performance, the first thing I want to talk about is the thermal management and how it handles games. I've had great performance using it for gaming. I mean, it's loud, the fans definitely spin up quickly and they get to a fairly high volume, but that's expected with the type of specs that this laptop has. But I don't notice any throttling or performance problems during extended periods of gaming. Here's a little footage of Battlegrounds. As you can see, the frame rate is at 50 to 60 frames per second. This is at 1080p on ultra settings, and the game runs really well. I picked this game because it's not a super well optimized game right now. It's CPU heavy. It also is pretty heavy on the GPU, so it's a good test of the overall kind of capabilities and raw power of the machine. And every other game I've thrown at it, it's been able to achieve basically 60 frames per second or above on the newer titles. So this is a laptop that you can definitely get years of use out of, and it's going to be able to play games for, the foreseeable future. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.